And I'm talking to the person who is looking for the solution and they want to know, what is it I'm supposed to do? The answer is not, we'll hop on this super restricted diet or that one or this one or that one. It's, welcome back to the Case by Case Training Podcast. This is episode 3. And in today's episode, we're going to be talking about setting expectations and specifically setting proper expectations for your health and fitness goals. And this is going to directly correlate to the first episode where we talked about goal setting, having a focus on the goals that are important to you and setting goals that align with those things that are important. When we're talking about expectations, we need to be keeping those big goals in mind. And we need to have a proper expectation for the goals we want to meet and also what we're willing to sacrifice and what we're willing to do, which is what we talked about in episode 2, the benefit of exercise and taking care of yourself, and really the fact that it's worth it, right? It's worth the sacrifice, that it's going to be an investment into your future things that are important to you, those big goals that we talked about in the first episode. Now, I do want to say, I know that the first couple episodes so far, it's been somewhat generic, the topic. We haven't dove into specifics. We haven't gotten really specific on steps you can take, implementation of different things, and that is going to come. And so I do want to assure you that we're going to get more specific into the step-by-step processes of how to do things, how to actually take action on these things. And so you can have all the knowledge up here, but until you actually implement it, it's not going to be helpful. And so we are working towards that. But before we get there, we do need to address some of these things and really make sure the mindset is correct before we can really get results. And so you have to have reasons first, and then results will come later. If you don't have the reasons right, and you don't have a focus on your big picture goals, and you don't have proper expectations, and you don't really think it's that worth it, because maybe what your expectation is of what you need to sacrifice and what your expectation is of what you're getting out of it, if those things aren't aligning and it's not making sense, again, you're not going to be able to stick with it and follow through and get the results that you actually desire. And so we're trying to piece all this together. In this episode, it's going to be helpful. It's going to be kind of connecting the dots from the first 2 episodes especially. I do also just want to say, before we really dive into it, I wanted to just be clear on who this podcast is for. It's early on, it's episode 3, and so I feel like it's appropriate to just address the listener that I'm really speaking to. Because if you're somebody who does not really struggle that much with your weight, or in general, you don't really have a hard time, maybe you don't exercise a ton, maybe you don't have a bunch of goals set for yourself, but it just kind of naturally for you just eat healthy and you don't overeat, and you maybe you have a more active job or active lifestyle. That's great. And if you want to add in extra things, if you want some more benefit and even to go the extra mile, then this could still be helpful for you, but it's not necessarily geared towards you or directed to you. And I'm not trying to exclude anybody from this podcast at all. That's not my goal. Anybody could listen to it and benefit and learn some helpful things. But really, the people that I'm trying to help and speak to are those of you who, maybe you've had ups and downs all throughout and you just can't seem to maintain results that you get, or you've just never really gotten good results. You feel like you could really afford to get into better shape. You want to lose weight. You have these desires to be healthier than what you currently are. And maybe you're lost. You don't know how to do it. Maybe you've tried things and it's just not stuck. Whatever it may be, that's who I'm really trying to reach here and really help. And so, some of this stuff may not all apply to you specifically if you're listening to this, and you might go, I don't struggle with that, or I don't, that's not my goal, or that's fine. And you can still listen and still maybe gain some insight and some benefit. But really, the people I am directly speaking to, again, are those who you are really wanting results and you're kind of lost. And the reason I know that there's a lot of people like that out there is because, again, the amount of people who struggle with weight and struggle with a healthy lifestyle is huge. It's more than 50% of the country. And, so there's a lot of people out there, and I know people want results. People are, again, the fitness industry it's growing. More people are spending money on products, supplements. More people are spending money on getting equipment. More people are getting gym memberships. More people are buying workout programs and diets and all these different things. And yet, less people are in shape. And so, I see a problem there. Why is it that people who are searching for help cannot simply find it? And I think it's because there's a lot of false information, a lot of misinformation, and maybe not all of it is bad intentions necessarily, but I just think, unfortunately, the thing you have going against you if you're struggling and you're in this kind of rat race is that really you've been, I don't want to say conditioned, but the way that things are, it's just the way that things are, the way the fitness industry is, the way it works, the way the marketing works, the way our culture is, and our our desire for instant results, our quick results mentality, in conjunction with a lot of other things, it makes it really difficult, and it really does stack the odds against you. And so I don't think that means it's helpless or you can't get true and meaningful results. And maybe for you, you'd say, hey, I'm listening to this. I did one of these fad diets, or I did this thing or that thing, and it worked for me and it changed my life. Hey, that's great. But apparently it's not working for everybody or most people, because again, a majority are still struggling. A majority are, we're still going the wrong direction. And so I want to help us curve that and go the right direction. And so I'm here to say, hey, I don't think this is working, and it might go against the grain a little bit of what you've always thought or what you've maybe been told, and that's okay. But my hope is that you'll be willing to think through it and listen and really consider what I'm saying. And if you can really, and we talked about this in the second episode, but if you can get to a point, and we're gonna get more specifics coming up, but if you can get to a point where you recognize, hey, all this other stuff's not really working for me, I'm going to try something that is going to be long-term, something that is not just this quick fix that really doesn't last and doesn't work. I'm going to try something else, but you have to believe. You have to believe that it's going to work and pay off. And yes, you have to get some, results to see, like, this is working, and you need to be able to see that you're getting some results. It's not just blind faith fully, but starting out, you do somewhat have to take a leap. And that's true with anything. That's true with any diet you go on. That's true with any workout program you do. That's true with anything you do. You do have to take somewhat of a leap if you've never done it and seen that it works, right? So that first time, you're taking a leap. I think of maybe you saw the show. I don't even remember. It was like the mid to early 2000s. It used to air, The Biggest Loser, and we used to watch it as a family. And people, they would get these like crazy results, but then a lot of them would end up putting a lot of that weight back on. And I'd be curious to know, and I don't know if there's any way to know this, but how many of the people who are on The Biggest Loser are still healthy, still living a healthy lifestyle, and have stuck with, that, or how many of them have not? How many have put weight back on or reverted back to the way they were before? That's the same kind of thing that I believe is going on. Is there's lots of quick turnarounds, there's lots of quick results, get the good testimonials, and then we leave you. The program goes, hey, here's some quick results for you. Give us your testimony, see you later, and your lifestyle hasn't changed. You haven't found change that's lasted. And losing weight has a lot of benefits. It really does. And so you're going to notice a lot of those benefits. And I even think we could take a step further with a lot of these things. Some of the credit for fad diets or different cookie cutter diets or exercise programs, sometimes the credit goes to the wrong thing when people get these great results and they feel better, all these different benefits. They think, oh, it's because I did, vegan. That's what the benefit came from. That's why I feel so much better. That's why I cut meat out. Or the carnivore diet, I'm only eating meat and I feel so much better. Okay, how is it that you got this group who's saying they feel so much better and they're so much healthier and there's all these benefits from doing this one? You got these people who are saying this, and then you got the keto, and then you got all these different ones, and they're all different from each other. And yet you got all these great testimonials of people feeling better and all these things. Well, what do they all have in common? They're cutting out, most of them are cutting out a lot of the processed foods, right? And you're losing a lot of weight. But you're losing a lot of weight because you're cutting out a lot of the processed foods. And probably a lot of them are a little restrictive on the calories. And so you're losing a lot of weight fast, probably faster than you should. Again, for long-term maintainable results. And then people feel better, though, because of the weight loss. And because they cut out a lot of sugar and they cut out a lot of processed foods that were making them feel terrible. And so a lot of times these things also just get the wrong credit, or the credit's given to the wrong thing. And that's another thing to recognize. You don't have to cut this out or cut that or whatever. Now, if it's like, hey, cutting gluten out helps me in this way, or I have an allergy to this, or I've got leaky gut because of these types of foods. Okay, sure. You can talk to a nutritionist and get a specific diet for something like that that's going to potentially make you feel better. And there could be those types of benefits to different types of diets and things like that. But again, that's different than I'm doing this to lose weight and live a healthier lifestyle, but I don't have any kind of food allergies. I don't have any. The average person who's just trying to get into better shape and lose weight, they're looking for that. That's what they're looking for. And the feeling better and all those other things, that's going to come as a result. But again, if you just immediately are putting all the weight back on, it's not a maintainable lifestyle. That's not really going to be that helpful for you. And so we want to look at long term. We don't want to just look at short, quick, easy, and really not easy, but then not maintainable long term. So this will bring us into our conversation about expectations. Now, this is kind of a long intro, but I do want to kind of just set the stage for everything and help you see the direction we're going as well. Now, here's the thing, and this is where it starts getting a little trickier, because you could probably tell me exactly what you want. A lot of clients can tell me, hey, I want to lose this much weight, I want to do this, I want to do that. And again, for step one, we get things sorted out. Okay, which ones are really important, which ones really affect these big picture goals. But you could know that, right? I want to lose this much weight because I know it's going to help me be healthier in this way, and it's going to impact this area and that area. And you could know that. I want to exercise this many times a week because it's going to do this. And so you might have all that figured out in your head. And that's important. That's a big step. But now the issue is, okay, what do you think you need to do to get there? What exactly? And this is where it's interesting, because a lot of people, on the one hand, would say, I don't know. That's why I'm coming to you, right? But then on the other hand, a lot of people do think they know. They have somewhat of an expectation on what it looks like because of what the industry has painted it to look like. And so you're going to the only information you're going to have, if you've never done this, you don't have experience. I've never gotten these results. I don't know what to do. Okay, we'll go to somebody who has gotten the results. Great. You tell me what to do. And then, or someone who's gotten results for other people, right? But if it doesn't align, if what they're telling you doesn't align with maybe what you expected or what you see going on around you, you might go, I don't know. And that's where the rubber meets the road is, are you going to be able to get to a point where you go, okay, what is happening around me? The people who are doing these different diets and these programs and these things around me, that's not actually working. And again, I'm not talking about, hey, this person lost a lot of weight, got a lot of results. I read this testimonial. I did. Think about it. What's out there is not working, and maybe you've experienced it. Maybe you're opening your eyes a little bit and you're going, yeah, you know what? I know what you're talking about because I've done this. I've tried that. I've done these different things and stuck with them. I'm not talking about, because I think this is where, again, it's a perfect setup for the people selling a program or selling, a diet or whatever it is they can put it back on you. If you miss one day or you don't do it, or, it's back on you. And there's definitely a certain level of responsibility that you need to stick with something. If you don't stick with it, you're not going to see the results. And so, there is a little blame. But if nobody can stick with it, if people are failing left and right to follow through with this program, could it be maybe that the program is too high of an entry level for people who don't know what they're doing or have never done something this intense or hard or difficult or whatever it is? And so, but, we do it to ourselves because on the one hand, people want that extreme. They want that huge, I'm going to change my whole life around. And in this one moment, I'm going to make this big decision and I'm going to have this huge overhaul. And again, that is something that's created by what we've seen around us, what we've seen other people do it. I saw this person, they lost this much weight in this time. I saw these testimonials, I saw these videos, I saw this Instagram post, and we think that's the way to do it. And so you do kind of have a little bit of, you don't know how to get there maybe, but you have a little bit of an idea of what you think it looks like. And what I'm trying to say is the way that it looks like is the wrong way. Because again, it's just not working. It's not working for so many people. And it may be, again, working short term, but a short term commitment, I'm committed to 30 days, it's going to be short term results. So how do you get long term results? Because that's what people want. If you said, hey, what am I expecting to get out of this diet? What am I expecting to get long term? I want it to change my life. I want to be able to have these big goals that are important to me impacted by this decision that I'm making. But what they're not telling you and what you don't realize is it can't do that. It can't bring that because it's a short-term commitment. If they were being fully upfront, if companies were fully upfront, maybe it would deter a little more people. Oh yeah, no, this isn't going to help you long term. This isn't going to be a diet you're going to be able to stick with for, 5 years. This is going to be like a 30-day, and you could do it again in 6 months. But it's super extreme, actually not that healthy, and blah, 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 blah. The list could go on. And I'm not saying there's not good stuff out there, by the way. There's good programs out there. There's programs that are more long-term based and realistic and try to fit within your real life. But a lot of stuff out there is just so ridiculous. The things that they're expecting people to do, which again will get the fast, crazy results, but it's just not real life. That's not realistic for long term. And so if your goal is, hey, I want to lose this amount of weight for a wedding or something specific I'm trying to do, okay, that's fine. And we can do that and we can work towards that. And it's okay to have a goal like that. But that's not the process for long-term results of being a healthier person. And so you need to have a proper expectation. You need to have an expectation that this is a lifelong thing. If I want lifelong results, if I want my life to be changed, I want to feel better, I want to be, more energetic, you want all the benefits, and you want it to impact your future, hey, the reason I'm doing this is because of these big things that are important to me. Well, then you have to do something that actually aligns with that. And a super fast 30-day transformation isn't the solution to what you actually want. And so your expectation of what you want is not aligning with your expectation of what you need to do to accomplish that. So, and this is where when people hear the reality, a lot of them turn the other way. If somebody's honest with you, and I hope if you have a program where it's not just something you're finding online, but it's like a trainer that you're talking with or you're communicating with somebody and you're asking realistically, is this maintainable long term? Could I do this for the rest of my life? Is this geared towards long-term results, or is this a fast, quick results that's not going to be maintainable long term? What is it that I can expect from this in the long term? I would hope that they would be fully honest and upfront. So, oh no, if you want this result, this is what you're going to need to do. And now the interesting thing is most people, they want a fast result and they want it in an unrealistic timeline. And yet trainers don't tell them, hey, that's not a good idea. Like, that's not going to be maintainable. That's not going to be healthy. You could do it, but what you're going to have to do to get there, it's going to be extreme. And unless you're like already an extreme person, that, if you're somebody who's just like a bodybuilder doing shows and competitions and things like that, but then if that's the case, you wouldn't be needing this, right? You wouldn't be needing that weight loss program and that diet and whatever it is. So that's kind of the point is we're putting people who have no direction, have never done this, lack the motivation to do it because it's not something they really want to do or enjoy. They're just wanting the results. And then we're putting them on these extreme programs that somebody who's super disciplined could probably barely do. Half the time, probably even the trainers and the people giving out the diets and all these different things aren't even doing it. And then we're expecting them to stick with it and maintain it. And no, they're going to get fast results for the time that they stick with it and do it. And it's like, awesome. That's great. But what it costs and is it going to last long term? How are you going to keep those results? And so instead, we need to start recognizing that, hey, we need to figure out how to help people just live a healthier life one step at a time. Simple habits, simple steps. And again, this is where the problem is partly on the industry for creating this system, but they did it and they do it because it's what people want. It's what the consumer wants. The consumer wants this idea of, I just do something for 30 days, get the results, and it's good to go. But you need to, for yourself, you need to come to a point where you recognize that is not the solution. That is not going to be the long-term solution for me. What I really want when I get down to my deep desires and my bigger goals is this. And I need to come to a point where I recognize the 30-day this, the 30-day that, this diet, that, whatever. Those things, they don't align. They don't align. They could align with a short-term goal. A short-term commitment can align with a short-term goal. If you're, hey, I want to lose this much weight for a wedding or whatever else, go for it. I'm not against it. And if it really does work for somebody, if it's like, hey, I've been doing keto for 10 years and it works great for me and I haven't had any health, issues from it and everything looks good and I love it and I can maintain it and it's great for me, then that's fine. I'm not talking about that person. I'm talking to the person who is looking for the solution and they want to know, what is it I'm supposed to do? The answer is not, we'll hop on this super restrictive diet or that one or this one or that one. It's, well, let's look at your current lifestyle, see what things you're doing that don't align with your big picture goals, and think about what things could we start implementing. Some small little changes, a little more activity here, a little more there. We don't want to cause you to get an injury, for one, by doing too much too fast. We don't want to cause you to be malnourished because you're actually not getting enough nutrition, period, now. We don't want, and you could be malnourished currently, but cutting more food out isn't going to make you more nourished if we're not adding anything back in. If you're not getting enough calories for what your body needs, you're also going to lack energy. You're going to be miserable. And yeah, you might go, well, it's worth it to get this result, but is it? Is it worth it to to get that kind of result that's not going to be long term. It's not going to last. It's not actually helping your long-term health. It's not changing your lifestyle. It's just a simple, quick fix that is going to be probably undone. I hate to say it. And I don't say that to say it's like your fault or like, well, if you just stick with it or, whatever. Because I think that's what a lot of people think. And that's where the blame goes back on then the consumer, right? They're the one that gets the blame. Because why? Well, the system works. Because clearly people are losing tons of weight. So you can't really complain that it didn't work. You lost all the weight. You just didn't stick with it. You just didn't have enough commitment to it. I don't buy it. I think that in that equation, the program failed. The trainer failed. They need to figure it out. And again, there are times where yes, you still have to do the work. And so you could have a long-term program planned out for you that is going to take you step by step through the process in the right way, tailored to you, tailored to your needs, tailored to your goals and what you're willing to do. And we could find a solution. You should be able to find a solution that goes, here's my goals. Let's take everything into account. Here's my lifestyle. Here's what I'm willing to do to get this. Here's how much I'm willing to sacrifice. Chances are you probably don't even need to do as much as you're willing to a lot of the times. But the problem is, again, people are willing to do a lot for a short period of time. Well, I'll give up everything for 30 days. But then they're not really willing to do very little for a long-term commitment. So, well, yeah, you got to do these few little things, but you're going to have to do it the rest of your life if you really want to keep maintaining results. But what do you expect? Do you expect that you're going to do something for 30 days and then your whole life will be changed indefinitely from then on out? No. It's just like making money, right? You could win, a certain amount of money or get 50 grand. That could change your life for that moment. And you might think like, my whole life has changed. But then if you just spend it all, you have to make more now. So what's a better solution? Probably a job that gets you a steady income long term. And you support it for life. Not just a one-time, I got this big lump of money at once. And again, you could with that illustration, you could obviously invest and do these different things. And there are ways, and we can talk about this too, there are ways where you could do the quick 30-day. You can get the big results up front, see that it's working, and really get a big drastic change. Kind of like when I said, if you had the goal to lose this amount for this time or for a wedding or whatever it is for an occasion. But even if it's not for an occasion, if you have the right mindset going into it, and this would be based on an individual basis, I'd have to talk to you and see where you at. Okay, do you have a clear understanding that this is what we're doing? Okay, we're going to get you to this weight in this amount of time. It's going to be short term. You're going to do really intense. And then once we get there, we need to maintain it though. So we're not going to go back to just what you were doing before. We now need to invest, right? Wisely. Just like if you win the money all at once, that can be okay if you're smart with it. And so let's not undo everything that we just did, losing all this weight. Now we need to take steps forward to continue to maintain. And it'll be a lot easier than what you did in that 30-day program. But most programs are not teaching people that. They're not teaching them, what do you do after? What happens once I lost the 50 pounds? Now what? Well, you just have to keep doing this extreme, ridiculous diet and program that nobody's going to want to stick with and do long term to keep those results. And there's other factors. We won't get into it here. I've written on some of these topics a little bit. If you go to bencasetraining.com, you can read some of the blog posts. I've talked a little bit, like with metabolism, how it's affected by these types of things. Doing these fast, drastic results versus a slower, long-term thing. A lot of times people do these fast, drastic results and then they can't do it again. Or it's not as effective the next time, and their metabolism actually slows down. And so there's other negative effects that you don't even see going on behind the scenes. And so there's a lot of things, again, that we need to continue to unpack and unfold. And we're going to get more to the practical stuff. Like I said, the practical steps and what you can do and how you can go about this for yourself, trusting the process, trusting that this is going to be the better way than what maybe the industry is telling you and what other people are telling you. And you might doubt it, but you got to just trust and give it a chance and start seeing, wait, this is way better. And a lot of times too, these extreme drastic things, they can create other problems and create not just like what I was talking about, the metabolism, things like that, can create eating disorders for people. It can create obsessive compulsive behavior. It can create body image, body dysmorphia. There's other problems that can happen underlying that we don't even necessarily think about. And a lot of people have experienced these things. Way better way and route to go is just small habit changes day after day, small investments into the bank over time, and seeing that slow growth. Or other option, if you have somebody that's working with you and you've got the right mindset, we do the fast approach to start, and then we have to still do the slow growth continuing. We have to maintain what we've achieved. It's not just one and done and now don't have to do anything anymore. And that's the problem. A lot of people don't actually have the lifestyle change. They still view themselves as, I'm an overweight, unhealthy person who happened to lose 50 pounds. But I don't still view myself as now a healthy person who has changed my lifestyle. That's where you need to get, is where you view yourself differently. You're like, I'm not that person anymore. I'm a different person. And it could be before you've lost 50 pounds. You could get there day one. You've lost 2 pounds after a week or two, and you could get there where you're going, I'm a different person now. I've changed my mind, and I'm not looking back. I'm changing my lifestyle. And again, it doesn't have to be a drastic overhaul. We can do little tiny things here and there, but the brain, your mind, has to have a drastic overhaul. And people do it the opposite way. They do a drastic overhaul with their life, of what they're doing, their habits, and these things that really, to an unmaintainable point, to an extreme point, but they don't ever actually overhaul their mindset. And we need to flip it and do it the other way around, do it in the right order, and again, it'll be long-term lasting results, and your lifestyle will change. And you can be walking around as that healthy person that people are going, how did you do it? What did you do? How are you so healthy now? And you've maintained it. I just do a few things each day. I just exercise consistently and regularly, eat a little healthier. Well, that's just not the answer people want to hear, though, right? They don't want to hear that. They want to hear, oh, I took this, supplement, or I did this super fat, there's this crazy diet that I went on. And so, again, it's the same thing with people who want to make money, right? They want to hear, oh, I did this super get-rich-quick thing, and I made a ton of money overnight. And they don't want to hear, well, I worked at it for 10 years, and I've just stayed consistent and slowly been building. But it's the better route. I'm telling you. It's the lifelong, life-changing route. And so I know I'm really harping on this, and I have been for all 3 episodes, but I really want to get this through to you so that when we start getting to more of the practical stuff, you're sticking with it and you're remembering these episodes. And if you haven't watched the first 2, go back and watch them. But you're remembering these things as you go through so that you can not forget, or maybe just not even know these things in the first place. And you might go, wait a minute, this is really not, I've been doing this for a few weeks and not really seen much change. Like, wait, all I have to do is this? People if you tell them all you have to do is these couple little things, they don't believe it. It's like, oh no, come on, I got to do a lot more than that. Well, why would you want to make it harder on yourself? Why not listen to the person who's gotten people results and done this and trust it and then see that, oh, I've had clients come to me who were eating hundreds less calories than they needed to a day, like 300, 400, 500 calories less each day, and weren't getting results. And I increased their calories, and they, what? You're going to increase my calories? Like, I've never heard of this. And so just trust it. Do it for a few weeks. Trust me. It's not going to be immediate, but we need to do it and stick with it and trust the process. And the weight starts falling off, and they go, wow, I never would have thought. You don't have to think it's normal. You don't have to, you could even be skeptical, and you could go, I've never heard this. But just be willing to recognize, hey, everything else out there doesn't seem like it's working that well. Maybe I will give this a try and really come along for this journey to see, is this legitimate? Is this going to work? And there'll be testimonials and things as well for you to be able to see. You can go to bencasetraining.com as well to see some current testimonials from some of my clients. But as we go through this podcast, I hope that along the way there'll be people who can be saying, yeah, I'm doing this and it's working for me. And maybe that will help you as well. And so obviously, as I'm saying this all, I'm only on the 3rd episode. And so there's a lot more to come. But if you're watching this and there are more out, and there's a lot you can listen to, and you've got them lined up, I hope that you'll go through. I hope you'll see some positive results and testimonies from others to help give you that confidence to trust that process and believe, and really start, again, seeing real change, real results long term, and being able to do something maintainable, it's realistic for your lifestyle, and realizing that now my expectations are a lot more aligned. I'm expecting long-term results from this long-term commitment. That makes a lot more sense. You should be able to expect that, right? I should be able to expect that if I'm committing to something for life, that it's going to get me results that are lifelong. Committed to 30 days and expecting something long-term from that, it doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense. And so hopefully this has helped you to realign your expectations a little bit, to think about how there's a disconnect here with the way things have been done and been happening over the years, and maybe it's time for a change, to try something different, to see, hey, will this approach be better for me and actually work? And then you can tell others, hopefully, and we can keep helping more and more people. As I help you, I hope that you'll be able to help others and tell others, and actually give them a solution that really works long term, and it's not something that is just going to appear to work momentarily and not truly work for the long term. And you'll be able to help other people, hopefully, open their eyes and see this. I'm trying to help you. And if you're listening to this, hopefully you will get to a point where you're starting to see, okay, I see what he's saying. And I'm asking you to trust me on this. And then you will have a better voice to tell others and say, hey, people that trust you, you can say, listen, this is what I'm doing. This is working. And I know it might not seem like what's normal, what you want to necessarily automatically think to try, but it works. And so that's my hope. That's my goal. Hopefully we can begin to impact more and more people and help people break away from the false thinking that exists within the fitness industry, and with tons and tons of people out there who are looking to try to get results, and they're lost and they don't know what to do. Let's start making a change, and I hope that you'll continue to follow along. Subscribe to the channel so you can continue seeing the next future videos that come out, future podcasts, and whether you're listening on Spotify or if you're watching this on YouTube, and keep following along. Like I said, we will continue to get more practical and get more deep into this. I will see you in the next one.